So, as has been mentioned before, and will likely be mentioned many times again, last week we went to Florida with all intentions of watching a series of rocket launches. We wanted to be EJ or DOS and basically be there to see the launch, experience it, and bring it to you. And I had a whole bunch of hotel points that were going to expire December 31st. So why waste hotel points when there's rockets to launch? And we made our reservations back in August to make sure that we could get the hotel that is admittedly 45 minutes away from Canaveral, but that was close and free. And so the plan one was to do footage around Kennedy. We got a ton of photos, to watch 2 launches, and to hang out around our hotel and get stuff done where we could all work together face to face. Now, reality and plan are not the same thing. The best laid plans of mice and men. First of all, I want to meet those mice who are doing planning, because I know the men are kind of bad at it, and maybe the mice are better. Somehow a mouse made it onto the second story of my house. That took planning. So, it turned out that the SpaceX launch we were hoping to see got shifted earlier after we booked our reservations, and the Starliner launch got booked later after we made our reservations. And it turned out we all really wanted to go to Disneyland, Disney World, and Universal Studios. And we had a hybrid SUV, thanks to Annie, so we could drive, not Annie, Susie, so we could drive around. We had a VA discount on tickets, thanks to Annie. Thank you for your service. It allowed us many things, including Disney. Little did she know that's why she went into the service. I'm making Annie laugh. I'm sorry. I'm taking far too much pleasure in her response. And while we were down there, we decided to instead walk around Disney World, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and Universal Studios and go, is that a rocket? Is that a rocket? We'll be bringing you that footage later. But yes, we got a chance to all work together face to face. And while doing this, we all learned what we hadn't really fully understood before, which is Susie not just like watches Critical Role. She doesn't just play D&D. Like I play Dresden, kind of, when we all have time to get together. It takes us a long time to do a campaign. No, Susie is on it. They meet. We scheduled her hangout-a-thon hours around her game. She is a game-playing, awesome sauce human who knows all of Critical Role. So I feel safe saying she is queen of the geekdom in our crowd. And I respect that so much. She will be here next hour, which is actually now. Are you ready, Susie? Okay, so I'm going to grab my headphones and bring you on so that I can say hello. Still working on the audio. Still working on the audio. Hello, audio. Why can't I?
Oh no, never mind. That's old. Ignore me.
So it's Pamela's AirPods connect. Oh, I know where the audio settings are. I'm in that screen. I should be able to hear you. Say something, Susie. I can't hear you. Is the little green thing going up and down on your end when you speak? So if you mouse over the Zoom window, when you speak, you should see the microphone in the lower left-hand corner gets a green bar in it. And she's not seeing that. Okay, so you Now we hear you. Whoa, and I'm dropping my... Okay, so let me bring you on screen. You are now on screen.
Hi, everybody.
And you have a little bit of echo somewhere. I don't know if you have an extra window open. It may just be your microphone.
I think it's just the mic because
Okay.
I have headphones and I have a bunch of windows closed. So
Okay.
got everything closed down.
That's what you really have to do to make this work is shut down all the things. Now I'm going to hand things over, but before I do, I just want to say thank you so much for being a part of everything that we do. You and I have been working together since I think 2009 off and on, and now we work together pretty much every day, and it's just a great experience. And so you in the audience, be kind to her. I'll find you. Okay, so here is everything turned over to you, Susie.
Okay, Pamela, you go get some lunch. Everybody else there, go get some lunch so we can wrangle the rest of this afternoon. Let me see if I can pull up the chat so I can see what's going on. Oh, there's a delay. That's fun. All right. Hi, everybody. You finally get to see me. I finally have a camera working. And you get to see my son, Kevin, behind me, which is amusing. Hang on, let's see. Kevin, did you say, can you wave?
Hello.
That's my son, Kevin. He's going to be going to college next year. So he is one of my two kids that everything that you donate that goes to pay me goes to pay for them to go to college. So thank you very much. I'm very excited. This is the first time I've been on camera here by myself. If you've been watching, you may have seen us on camera a little bit back in the summer when we went to PSI, when we went to Tucson. So that was a lot of fun. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll get a camera and I can be a streamer too. So y'all got me into this. But basically we don't have a guest this hour. So I thought it would be kind of fun for you to hear about how I got involved with CosmoQuest, because I followed a kind of a random, strange path to get here. But I started as a podcaster. Actually, I started as a stay-at-home mom who started watching and listening to podcasts in 2005, I think. I mean, it was pretty early. It was pretty early in when podcasts started. And I listened to Slice of Sci-Fi, all the Farpoint Media podcasts, and those folks over there are great. Hi, Mike Benengay. Love you. Love you, Summer Brooks. And as I listened to podcasts and got started really enjoying them, I thought about doing a podcast of my own about raising geeky kids. As you can see, I have one right there. So, so in 2008, it took me a year or two to get everything organized, figure out how to do everything. 2008, I started a little podcast called How to Grow Your Geek. And so it was just about, being a geek who's a parent and what kinds of things you can do as that. And it ran for, I think, 6 years. I did run it for 6 years. Now, I wasn't super regular, but it ran for 6 years and I learned a lot. And I learned as a hobbyist how to do all of that. This led me to the next part of this, where I became involved with other podcasts and became part of the Parsec Awards committee. Through Farpoint Media and all those wonderful folks, I met a lot of other people and got invited to be on the steering committee for the Parsec Awards, which led to me meeting even more people in podcasting. And that's how I first met Fraser and then Pamela, working with them in the Parsecs because Universe Today stuff, Fraser had started doing Guide to Space, and Pamela and Fraser were doing Astronomy Cast. And so that's when I got involved and met them and About that time, my kids got in middle school, so I started looking for a job because, yeah, it's always good to bring in a little more income. And I happened to tweet out that I was looking for something maybe I could do from home. And it turns out Fraser needed some help with Universe Today stuff. So he hired me on. I started doing social media for him and helping him produce the Guide to Space and a variety of things over at Universe Today. And I started there, let's see, I think in 2013. I started working over there. And then I worked there for 3 years until Pamela got the big CosmoQuest grant that we initially started with. And so then Pamela needed me more than Fraser did, which was a big deal. So I moved over and started working full-time with CosmoQuest, full-time as needed, as our funding allowed. At first, we had this really big grant from NASA. So I did actually work full-time for Pamela and doing all the things. Still doing Astronomy Cast, still doing the weekly Space Hangout. We started it as a podcast in addition to the streams on YouTube. And that's kind of how I stumbled into all of this. Most of this stuff I've either taught myself, Pamela's taught me, Fraser taught me, or we're winging it sometimes. Because social media and streaming and all of this stuff, all of new media is just a huge animal that is kind of constantly moving and you're having to figure out what to do next. So Fraser loves to be on the bleeding edge of stuff. So he would often go, let's try to do this. And I would have to go figure out how to do it. Pamela's not quite as bad as Fraser. But with Pamela, we have many other channels, many things to do. So that's why she says I heard all the cats, because I keep track of a lot of different things that are going on, especially like this year. She said, let's add a daily podcast. And I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. It turns out it's fine. We can handle it. And we enjoy bringing you the news and everything. But that's how I got here. And it's pretty cool because I started out in school studying psychology and didn't end up being a psychologist because I figured out I didn't want to be a therapist. Now, if I could have stayed in the classroom and taught, that would have been awesome. But wasn't really a thing. But psychology goes well with doing things like marketing and stuff. And basically, this is a kind of marketing. I just happen to really like space and science communication. And so it's a kind of marketing I really like. And I just got plain lucky stumbling into being here with Pamela and all of these amazing people. Pamela's the kind of boss who you wish you could have for the rest of your life. I will say that. And I will probably embarrass the stew out of her by saying this kind of stuff. But I mean, every bit that anybody donates, we try to wring as much information, as much possible value out of anything you donate, because we enjoy doing this stuff. We really just have to be able to pay the bills. And so that's one reason we're here doing this. And these folks are amazing. They really deserve your support. And yeah, so I won't tear up, but these folks are pretty awesome. And I will now tell you that we had the best time on a vacation last week. It was my first vacation without family and kids since I've been married, I would say. So it was the first girls' vacation, and we actually had a great time. We rode everything we wanted to. We ran around. We ate wherever we wanted to. It was fantastic. And we took a lot of pictures of, is this a rocket? Sorry, I'm occasionally glancing down at the chat. So you see me looking at things and wondering what I'm doing. I'm looking at the chat to see if anybody says anything. Yeah, Dave really wanted to come and crash our vacation, but couldn't get off work. So he's in there, he's over there at Pamela's now having fun, and I'm at home because it was a little too close to Christmas to leave and go off and be up there for a while. Otherwise, I could have ridden up with Dave. He lives fairly near me. I live in Atlanta, so he lives fairly nearby. I could have caught a ride, but getting back for Christmas was kind of important too. So I'm doing it remote, which is an awesome thing about modern technology. You can do this remote. Let's see. At this point, I've been talking for quite a while, which podcaster, talking's not a hard thing, but you may be tired of hearing me just kind of go. So does anybody have any questions? Would you like to know anything about how we produce the show? I can wait a second, see if y'all have any questions, and then I can kind of talk you through what we do in a normal week, because it's good to know where your money's going if you're donating. Let's see. If anybody pops up any questions, anything. Thank you for the tip, Tariq. Thank you, everybody who's been donating and modding and stuff while I've been talking. I haven't been necessarily paying attention, but I saw that one. And yeah, Tarif is my dungeon master. So yeah, Pamela was saying that I am the geek queen. I don't know that I'm the geek queen, but I certainly talked about it enough last week. They heard all about our adventures, about everything going on over here at my house. It's how I'm dealing with reality lately, because, politically here in the US, it's not so much fun right now. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on. And so staying in D&D world and staying in, TV shows, movies, things like that, it's kind of how I'm coping. Okay, I see a couple of questions there. How many hours does it take to produce an episode of Daily Space? Thank you, Gordon, for that question. Honestly, it probably depends on, I'd have to add everybody's up. I know Pamela writes and does the research on most of the episodes. She does all of the topic episodes and stuff. Annie and Dave do the rocket episodes. Dave provides the vast majority of the information, the links to all of the news reports and stuff for the rockets and stuff like that. He provides most of that, which is fabulous. That's one reason we love Dave so much. And then Annie writes, kind of condenses those into something that we can present on the show. But generally, it's Pamela doing the writing the other 4 days of the week. So I would say it probably takes her an hour or two to go through the, maybe more, I'm guessing, maybe more to go through the press releases for the day and pick out 3 or 4 that are good and that she can explain in coherent chunks. Then she writes a script, and depending on how busy the day is, she either does the live show at 1:00 or she records the podcast version first. Depending on, like I said, what time we get done in the morning writing scripts and whether or not she's having to do a lot of grant writing, because Pamela has been working her butt off doing a lot of writing grants this fall. So hopefully we'll get some grant money. That would be great. Then we can do even more. But so that's a couple of hours for writing the script. Then an hour, half an hour to an hour of just production, running the show, where Pamela or Annie get on, present the script that they've written for the day. Then after that, if they haven't already recorded the podcast version, they'll do that, do a straight read through and edit that and get it ready to go up on our feed. Then I take the notes, the script that they have, and I turn that into a blog post over on Daily Space. And so we go through and we get all of the links. And if we have a chance, we add additional links that we find in the press releases. Some days are a little hectic, and so you may only get 1 or 2 links. Other days, I may have time to go through and give you, 4 or 5 links. And then the rocket shows have a ton of links because Dave is awesome. So those are very long. So on the average day, it takes me about 2 hours to get all of that done. And I also download the video from Twitch that aired. So after they do the live show, I download the video, I edit it. So I cut off like all the stuff at the beginning where you see Eddie laying around or Malachi, whoever, whatever is pre-show. And I also cut off the little rockets. And we just start with that for the YouTube version. And I put it over there. So there's less dogs in the YouTube version because for some reason the people on YouTube seem to like dogs less, even though the Twitch stream, you guys love them. So we edit it a little bit. And if there's anything crazy, like we had to start a couple of times, things like that, got dates wrong, anything, that gets fixed. And then I upload it over to YouTube. So then once I've got a blog post, a podcast, and a video on YouTube, I go over to our Patreon and I put a post with all of the script, the podcast, and the video and send that out early to our Patreon subscribers. And then it's set to go live for the public the next day. So that's all just for Daily Space. And that is Monday through Friday every week. And like I said, the rocket shows take longer because there's a lot more detail in there. There's a lot more images. There's a lot more links to create. There's a lot more videos to put in. So those take a little longer. So I would say in the afternoons, it usually takes me 2 to 3 hours to do stuff. So 2 hours for regular ones, 3 to 4 for rocket shows, depending on how late we're running as well. So I would say it's probably, if you count all of us doing things, I would say it's probably 6 to 8 hours, adding all of 3 of us up together. 6 to 8 hours per episode, just to get everything done, everything uploaded, everything out to all of you, and blog posts and all that. And that's just one of our shows. So let's see. Do we have any more questions in there? I am not seeing them, and I'm unfortunately can't easily see the whole chat scrolling by because then my eyes look the wrong place. So the other shows we do during the week are, we do Astronomy Cast on Fridays. That's Pamela and Fraser basically doing a deep dive on some topic in space. It's been going 13 years now, I believe. I've been with it for 6. And I believe our next episode is tomorrow. We usually do them on Fridays, but this time we're doing it during the Hangout-a-thon. And I believe it's 552. I think we're on number 552. So there are a lot of episodes to Astronomy Cast. So if you enjoy a deep dive in topics about space and astronomy, go subscribe. You can go to find us at astronomycast.com, or you can just search Astronomy Cast on Apple Podcasts or any of your podcatchers. It's been around long enough, it shows up. And there's a lot of content. And it's even available on Alexa. So you can, it's an Alexa task. You can say, Alexa, play Astronomy Cast number 537, and it'll do that. Thank you to Libsyn, who is our host, who enabled being able to do something that we've been doing that many years. So 500 and some odd episodes to be accessible on Alexa. They went in and they created a little app we could run through and make everything more accessible on there. If you ever have any problems finding episodes of Astronomy Cast, like you start at the beginning and you're wanting to watch, to listen to them all, you can find them on our website, astronomycast.com, because that's where we keep the vast majority of the archives. We have all of them listed there. And you may notice that the older episodes are audio only. Then there are some that have start video. And Pamela and Fraser have, because it's 13 years old, there's been a lot of technologies involved in Astronomy Cast. So they started out, I think, on Google Hangouts, and now they use Zoom and OBS and stuff. And so we still now re-record live on YouTube and then turn it into a podcast later. So I get their audio, I edit it, I put it out as the nice, pretty packaged astronomy cast with music. And then I also take the audio straight from the video on YouTube and put that out as a raw feed. So if you want to hear the chit-chatting before, if you want to hear the questions and answers afterwards, then go ahead and listen to the Astronomy Cast raw feed, which you can also find on our website, astronomycast.com. You can find it under the post for the podcast. All right, now I'm looking to see. Were you interested in space before starting to work with Fraser and Pamela? That is a very good one. I have always been interested in space. I was totally a geek kid growing up. So I always liked space, science, wanted to be an astronaut for a little while until I got a little scared of the math. Hence, psychology person. But I've always been interested in it. So it's kind of like my fondest wish. I get to be around all of this stuff. I get to see the news every day. I get to hear about all of the rocket launches. I get to go on trips. Like a few years ago, when OSIRIS-REx launched, we went to the launch to see OSIRIS-REx launch before it ever got to Bennu. You've heard about Bennu plenty, but we were able to go and see that launch. And it was Fraser's first launch, and it was mine. And I'll tell you, there's nothing like standing there and feeling the vibrations going through you when a rocket launches for the first time. It's pretty amazing. They did have a simulation at Kennedy Space Center this time that kind of had a similar vibration, so you could sort of feel what it felt like to stand there. But it was really cool to be there. So the fact that we get to go and have press credentials and get to be behind the scenes a little bit at a launch, that's pretty amazing. So I would say one of the best jobs ever. Definitely best boss ever. The only issue is we need money. That's something you can help us with. Let's see. I'm doing a lot of babbling. I apologize. I'm thinking of things to talk about. Okay, Weekly Space Hangout. That's the other show we do during the week. So every Wednesday, we have Fraser Kane from Universe Today. He hosts the Weekly Space Hangout. And we have astrojournalists and scientists who come on and basically talk about the week's news. And we started a program this year where we have younger space journalists or scientists, people maybe still in grad school or just getting out, and we're training them up to do the same thing, because it's kind of a big deal for scientists to be able to communicate well to the public what they're doing. It's all well and good to be able to tell other scientists to write academic papers and stuff, but to be able to spell it out to the public is pretty critical as well. And so that's one of the things that we're actually doing in the Weekly Space Hangout, is helping to train up new scientists and new communicators to present this information about space and science. So we have a group of them, and you'll see a variety of them here this weekend. We have a number of folks. I know we have Alan Versfeld, we have Dave Dickinson, we have Sandy Springman, Morgan Renberg. I am not looking at the schedule right now, so I can't remember who else, but I'm fairly certain. Oh, Brian Coberline. They all rotate coming in on the Weekly Space Hangout. And you heard Paul Matt Sutter get mentioned when Aviva was on earlier today. He has been on the show. He was one of our regulars before. He got a little busy this year, which is very good for him and great for science. He's got a different job now where he's doing a lot of space communication, but he's still very much a friend of the show. Dr. Kimberly Cartier, she is one of the folks who shows up on there. Our own Planetary Pan here in the chat, she is Beth Johnson, who works at the SETI Institute, which is pretty cool. So we have a great group of science journalists that come on, and we usually have a guest. So the Weekly Space Hangout crew, which a lot of you are actually members of, basically it's a fan group where you can do things to help support us, and you can decide who we have on our shows. So you can join over at wshcrew.org or .space. It'll show up in the chat in a minute. We have we have a little thing. There we go. WSHcrew.space. See, I start thinking and I get all flustered. You can learn about joining the crew. And then if you have an idea for a guest to come on the Weekly Space Hangout, you can tell us, because the Weekly Space Hangout crew are the executive producers. So we get really cool people like astronaut Charlie Duke last week to come on the show and talk about stuff. And, we've had people like Andy Weir, who wrote The Martian. We've had Mike Massimino. Had to remember how to pronounce it. He's one of the guys that helped fix the Hubble telescope. We've had amazing guests over there. And mostly it is because our crew members are like, hey, can we have this person on? And let me see if I can get a hold of them. So that is a show we do. And all of these things that we have that are shows that we do during the week, I go over and schedule them on YouTube. Then people like the wonderful Nancy Graziano goes around and behind the scenes and gets the guests and wrangles everything. And then afterwards, I take everything and make a podcast. So then that way, if you didn't catch it at the time, you can catch it later and put out the blog posts and stuff so everybody can find everything. And then there's the whatever else that needs to be done category. I do a lot of that too. That's what we do right now, like Hangout-a-thon stuff. We're doing a lot of contacting guests and making slides and doing the titles and doing the art and running giveaways. Nancy is behind the scenes running giveaways right now, I think. And Annie and Dave and all the folks. We just have a great crew behind the scenes. And so everybody kind of jumps in whenever we need things done. All the moderators are amazing. You've got Paranor, you've got Keeper of Maps, you've got all kinds of folks in there. Planetary Pan, you've got Guido Bibra, you've got, I don't even remember who all's in there right now. But we have a great group of folks. And so we want to be able to keep bringing you science. So that's my pitch anyway. Let me see if there's any other questions for anybody else. Got any questions? Thank you for all the follows, all the bits, all the likes, any donations. That is wonderful. I can promise you that all of your money gets very well used. Does anybody have any other production questions for me? There's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes, a lot of moving parts. And sometimes what I'm doing is catching everybody and making sure they've got things on schedules. I am looking to see what questions we have. And I still actually have a half hour to talk. How about that? Gee, imagine me having trouble talking. No, generally I don't. So I can tell you about our vacation that went to when we went to Florida last week. So as Pamela has been saying, we were originally planning to go to Florida, and there was supposed to be a launch, a SpaceX launch, and then the Starliner test were both supposed to take place during the week we were there. And we have credentials. And sorry, I just saw in the chat that DPI 209 says, we were totally speechless and in awe to see me live, Susie Murph. Hi, DPI. Yes, I finally got a camera and it's working. And now y'all are eating and making me hungry. I'm going to eat after I get off. But we were supposed to go and see these two launches. We have press credentials, so we could have gotten, basically behind the scenes and into the press room, which is really cool because the last time I was there for the launch, I was literally sitting next to the people from the BBC. How does that happen? We're just a little podcast and Yeah, they're a major news organization. It was pretty cool. But SpaceX decided to do their launch early, and then Starliner got delayed. So that was a bit frustrating. We were hoping that maybe SpaceX, once they had said it early, I know they had to delay a little bit for bad weather. So we were hoping they'd keep delaying a little bit until Sunday, because we went down on Saturday. We were hoping Sunday would be when they would do it and we could go see it. But they didn't. They went off well. And as much as I love a great SpaceX launch, and especially my favorite part is when the rockets land, when the first stage come back and are perfect. Oh, wait. I think you see my fur baby right back over here. That is Jake. I'm sorry, I don't have a dog cam. And he's not always in the room. Let me see if I can get him over here. Jake, come here. Come here. Anyway, it's not required that you have a fur baby to be on CosmoQuest, but it helps. So if you hear panting and barking behind me, that is Jake. I will work on getting a dog cam, but he likes to wander around sometimes. And I have not yet got him accustomed to getting treats on camera. Okay, let's see. I was in the middle of that, but let me look and see. What is the strangest thing? Oh, what is the strangest thing I've had to bail Pamela and Fraser out of? Oh, that's a good question. They're not really that bad. Sometimes the schedule changes at the very last minute. Like occasionally it's due to technical problems, like Fraser's internet goes out or, something. So having to do things super fast, super last minute tends to get under my skin the most, probably. I handle it, but then I'm stressed afterwards. I freak out a little bit usually about that point. But it all goes fine. I just have to remember it's all fine. And you guys are a great audience and are very patient and really just want to hear the science. So if I just calm down and make the things work, everybody's happy. Ideally, you don't even know if something has gone wrong. And there's a lot of times where you guys haven't known that stuff has gone wrong. That's my job. Let's see. Obviously, this family's happy color is black. Well, I'm actually wearing purple. It just doesn't really look purple, but Kevin's wearing black. It's kind of gothy. It's cool. Hair's on fire, but I'm going to have a lie down later, so it's fine. Yes, I have said that many times. And I have also said, Fraser. He has a habit sometimes of forgetting to put things on his calendar and telling us that he won't be available. And so often I am rescheduling due to Fraser going, oh, by the way, I can't be on. Can we do it early? It happens. It's okay. As long as we have something to talk about. I will tell you the biggest thing that I usually have to chase Pamela on is the topic for Astronomy Cast for the week. We've done 552. It's hard to come up with topics. We can't just pop them off of the top of our head right now. We kind of have to go do some research and go, did we do that already? So chasing her down to get the topic for Astronomy Cast is usually the thing. So if it's late in the week before that stream shows up, it's because we didn't have a topic yet. So let's see. Have I missed other questions? Let me see. Is Kevin playing Rainbow Six? Kevin, what are you playing back there?
I wasn't playing. I was watching.
Oh, he was watching a video of somebody playing Rainbow Six.
Way better than me.
Somebody else was doing it. How often do you have to censor Pamela? Since we've been on YouTube, not very often. And YouTube has passed some new rules that you have to declare whether or not your content is for kids. And while our content kind of is for everyone, I mean, families can watch it. Right now, we're not trying to maintain a kid-friendly ranking because that puts a lot of extra rules on it. So 1 or 2 curse words here and there probably get through, not too many. Pamela is actually very professional about it, and I have to edit very little for them. It's other podcast editors would be very, very, very jealous because Pamela can do things often first take straight through. She's amazing. And if you haven't noticed, she has an amazing voice. So she sounds good in there. The craziest thing I have to come in and do is edit out dogs barking. And if they're barking while she's talking, I can't take them out. I get separate streams from Pamela and from Fraser in their background. So if one of them has something going on while the other one is talking, I can take that out. But if it's Pamela's dogs barking while Pamela's talking, you're going to hear it. Unless she just did another take for me. Let's see. I want to look and see if there's any other things. What is this? Let's see. I've caught most of them, I think. Yeah, Kim, alien megastructures, Cartier. Yes, she often does talk about that. If you have a topic idea, what is the best way to let us know? That is a great question. If you're on our Discord, which is below me on Twitch, you can see how to join our Discord. You can find us there. Or you can email me. I am smurph, M-U-R-P-H, @psi.edu. That is my official Planetary Science Institute email, so feel free to use that if you need to contact us. You can also, we have Astronomy Cast. Let's see, info@astronomycast for that specifically. And generally, you can find us on the streams. We're often there. I'm at Susie on Discord. I'm at Susie if you're in our WSH Crew Slack. So we're pretty easy to find. And if you have anything like that, feel free to just let me know because I can get it directly to the source, which is nice. And I think all of my family just headed out. So they were going to go do stuff this afternoon while I'm streaming. So I think it'll be quieter behind me now. Uncle Bill says, I remember the Aussie podcast that described Pamela as having the voice of an angel. Something skeptic, something. Probably, there's a couple of podcasts in Australia. And I think someone left something streaming behind me. Hang on. Is anybody still in here?
We're in here.
Okay, I hear something playing.
Okay.
All right, just checking on my family behind me because this is not a quiet podcast office. This is just where I end up working most of the time. They're still in here watching. My son left. Let's see. The blinds are being disrupted. Yeah. The dog, he's going to see what's going on outside because he always has to go and check and see what's going on everywhere else. And sometimes he will come in and he will bark. And I'm like, what are you barking at? There's nothing going on. Hey, Jake. We can't help but stream with our fur babies around us. It's kind of a challenge. All right, let's see. Are there any other questions in here? I still got 20 minutes to cover while they get lunch. I promise I'm on later today, but I promise I have guests during that. So this is the only time you'll get to ask me all of the random questions. So if you have any. I will say, if you have met me in person before, if you met me at the Astronomy Cast 500 celebration, or if you met me at the 2017 eclipse, I look a little different now. And that's because I've lost a lot of weight. So happy about that. So if you see me and you're like, wait, she doesn't look like I thought, that's why. I feel amazingly better. So I'm very pleased with that, and kind of makes me not mind streaming so much, if you know what I mean. So let's see. Thank you very much. Very proud. It was hard work. I feel 30 years younger. It's totally worth it. I should have done it earlier. But yeah, now I have the energy to keep up with Pamela and Annie, which I totally needed. I'll get back to telling you about vacation. That's what I'll do. Okay, so on our vacation last week, no launches, everything moved, so we didn't have anything. So that left us no choice but to have to go visit theme parks. First, we did start with Kennedy Space Center. So we did go and visit the Kennedy Space Center. We, of course, walked in. And if you have not been to Kennedy in Florida, it's well worth going. You get to walk in and you see the Space Shuttle Atlantis, and she's beautiful. And the way they have it, the video and the presentation that you see before walking in, it's really amazing and kind of gets you every time. And then you can see a mock-up of the Hubble Space Telescope. You get to see all kinds of amazing artifacts from space history. I can tell you we found 2 space toilets. You'll be seeing those pictures later. And it's just a really cool place to go. We toured the Rocket Garden. We got to see the Christmas lights out there. Those were pretty neat. We didn't get to hear whoever the astronaut was there that day. I think they were already booked up. But we did spend a lot of time walking around, taking pictures of things. And it was really cool checking out the place. And we saw the SpaceX facility when we went out on the tour, and we saw the Starliner on the pad way from a distance. And just all of the new things that they're working on over there. It was pretty cool. So that was Sunday. We did SpaceX. So on Monday, we loaded up and went over to Epcot. And when we got there, we started out, visiting things and checking out various rides. And we started to kind of realize that we were saying, is this a rocket? Is this a rocket? And kind of turned that into a joke. We did a little bit of that at Kennedy, but then we realized we could keep doing it all through the Disney parks and then ultimately even at Universal. So that turned into a thing. Pamela was recognized from Twitch and YouTube. We're coming out of the land, and this young college student, he came up and he said, "You look familiar. Where do I know you from?" And Pamela says, "Twitch?" And he goes, "You do space stuff, don't you?" And that was really cool because that was a pretty random thing because we didn't tell anybody which day we were doing which park. So it was a nice surprise. And they were with a group of college students and a couple of professors that were there who were science professors, and they were very impressed. Pamela was so excited, though. She was like, "I got recognized. This is awesome." And then we went over to the Mission Space ride. And that's where Annie started with that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. Because they said that the rockets in the Mission Space ride were powered by solid hydrogen. No. And we're in the line getting ready to go into the ride, and Annie is like, "No, that's not how this works." It was worth being there. So that's kind of how the week turned into, is this a rocket? And that's not how this works. And if you listen to the Daily Space podcast, you heard at least 2 episodes where we kind of corrected the science on some of the various rides around Disney and Universal. I think we may have done one in Universal. I'm not sure. We did it on Disney at least. We did a couple of rides. So we were actively looking for ways to bring you content while we were also very much enjoying our vacation, which we paid for ourselves. That was not company money by any means. We all paid for that ourselves. And it was also great for team building, for us to just get off by ourselves, because we all three work in 3 completely different locations. I'm in Atlanta, Pamela is near St. Louis, and Annie's in Ohio. So usually we're talking over Discord all day. That's how we do most things. Discord, Google Documents. If the internet goes down, we can't do much. It's kind of frustrating. But thankfully, we have good internet. Let's see. Do you guys ever come up to or have plans to come to Maine, Northern New England for Astronomy Cast events? I think we've got a list of potential things that we want to try to set up, and I believe going to Northern New England is in there. It's hard to schedule things, but it is definitely on the list as a place we need to go and meet up with people. Doing big meetups like we did for Astronomy Cast 500, or even bigger, the 2017 eclipse, those take some work and some time, and we need more hours in the budget to be able to spend time to do that. But we really want to. So your donations directly affect whether or not we can schedule more of those things, because it does take time and human power to be able to create all of those events and follow up on it all. Because it's a little more work than you want to ask a bunch of volunteers to do. And, when it comes to paying for things and scheduling things, that's more of a business kind of stuff to do. So if you want us to go more places and do more things, give us some support and we can do that. Be happy to. And Pamela's happy to talk to people pretty much anywhere. She has the most frequent flyer miles for things. So if you want her to go somewhere, give us money and then ask, because the worst thing we'll say is maybe not right now, but we'll try to schedule it. Let's see. I live in Maine. That's Zeno SW. Don't know how to pronounce that. Zeno SW says, I live in Maine and we have some fantastic clear night skies and not many public sky viewing events up there since a slim population. Well, we would have to see if it was in a good driving range or inexpensive area for people to fly to, if we could get a lot of people there. But if we could, it might be a very good place to have something with those amazing dark skies. I know that where I am in Atlanta, we do not have dark skies. We have very polluted skies between some of the air pollution and all of the lights. So while this is a place that is very easy to get to by plane, not necessarily the best place for a meetup where you want to go outside and look up. So please let us know your dark sky locations like this where you might want folks to come and do something. Let's see. Oh, Atlanta. Yes, Atlanta. At least right now it's not hot. I'm happy about that. Dave is not far from Atlanta and he has dark skies. So we'll have to go over there. We'll have to come to your house, Dave. Okay. You want me to tell everybody where it is? No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. Let's see. Yeah, the clear winter nights are beautiful around here. We don't get that many really good winter nights down here. So it's nice when you have a beautiful one. Okay, looking to see. I'm not seeing any other questions right now. Yeah, I did not dox you, I promise. I haven't even said your town. There you go. So talking about going on vacation. Yeah. I'm sorry if I'm bringing back accent. I am originally from Alabama, and I've always lived in Alabama or Georgia. Georgia for the past 22 years. So it's pretty ingrained. You're going to get Southern accent out of me, especially when I'm talking off the cuff and not rehearsed. You're definitely going to hear Southern accent. I hope you don't mind. It makes my voice very different than Pamela's and very different from Annie's. So that's good. I hear Alaska has some clear winter skies. I bet it does. And I bet I have no clothing to wear to Alaska. I don't even know how to start for that kind of weather. I do really want to go to Iceland one day, though. I want to go and I want to see the aurora. So I will definitely at some point have to buy lots and lots of winter clothing so I can go to Iceland. Fraser's gone a couple of times on trips with Paul Matsutter, and I really want to go on one of these, but they cost a lot. Let's see. We have a lot of Southern people in the group. Hi, everybody. Iceland is on my bucket list. Planetary Pan says, yeah, it's on my bucket list. Iceland, New Zealand, the Nordic countries. I want to go and see all that. My ancestors were Vikings and Irish, and I've been to Ireland, so I want to go to the Viking countries and see that. A few hundred layers of wool under a hard shell Eskimo suit. That's probably what I'll need to go up there. I like being cold, but I don't know if I'll like being that cold. So anyway, I was telling y'all about the vacation that we went on last week. So we went to Epcot. We thoroughly enjoyed that. We enjoyed going around the countries in the evening, and we had a lovely dinner on the side of the lake in Mexico and watched the fireworks during dinner. So that was great. I'm getting a message. Yes, my family's about to leave, so they wanted to ask me a question. They texted me, and I didn't hear it because I'm streaming. They're going to go play board games this afternoon. If I had been able to set up my laptop to do the streaming, I would be in my dining room, and you would see our wall of board games. That is one of the things we do a lot around here for fun. And in the summer, we go meet some friends in a bed and breakfast in Ohio that looks like a castle, and we play board games. And Pamela goes too because they're mutual friends with them as well. And this last year we got Annie and Favorite Human to go. And so that was great to be able to meet them in person. That's when I first met Annie, was there. So board games are part of our life, and we really enjoy doing those. All right. Brand new starter set for Killer Bunnies. Yeah, I saw our intro brought a stack of Killer Bunnies boxes, I think, about like this to Pamela's house this week. So I think they're going to probably play some board games while they're doing that. So yeah, we had fun in Epcot. We enjoyed some adult beverages in Epcot at night, which was great because I've only ever been to Disney and Epcot with kids, and generally there was no time for adult beverages. Going with a group of adults with no kids to mind was amazing. Then we went to Magic Kingdom and had a great time. We went to Hollywood Studios, and that day was extremely special. My daughter's college roommate, her family are wonderful people and gave us a VIP tour to go to Disney, which means you get a guide, and that guide says, where would you like to go? And you tell them what ride, what park, what rides, and if possible, they take you either through the back door with no line or through the Fast Pass line without having to have a Fast Pass. And it is amazing. And so we went to Hollywood Studios and we rode Galaxy's Edge ride, the Star Wars ride that is the Millennium Falcon, 3 times because we were in the Fast Pass line. And we did that. We did the Hollywood Tower of Terror, which is my favorite ride in all of Disney. That's my favorite ride. Although now the Pandora Avatar ride in the Animal Kingdom does give it a run for its money. So we did Hollywood Studios and we did Animal Kingdom and did all the very newest rides. Now, they do have one ride that just started last week called Rise of the Resistance, which is a Star Wars ride that even we couldn't get on because they ran out of slots on that ride at 7 a.m. before we even got to the park. So they didn't care that we had a VIP tour. We couldn't get on that. And our tour guide, the wonderful Teresa at Disney, she hadn't even been on that ride. It's been so booked. So we didn't get to do that, but we did wander around. We did a lot of stuff. We spent a lot of time in Galaxy's Edge. We even had blue milk, which was pretty awesome. And we took a lot of pictures of, is this a rocket? Because there were a lot of things there that could have been rockets. And then we went over to Animal Kingdom and rode the Avatar ride, the Pandora ride, and we rode Everest, which is the roller coaster with the Yeti coming out to attack you. That was pretty amazing. Blue milk. Let me tell you about the blue milk. It wasn't bad. It's a mix of soy and rice milk, but it tastes a lot like a real mild pina colada. And you could get it regular or with alcohol at it. We got it regular and tasted it, and it wasn't bad. So it's worth tasting, and you may not want to each buy a big glass, but it's worth getting some just to share and taste. That was fun. All right. And then after we finished Disney, we spent a day and did the Universal parks and got our Harry Potter on, which we're all Harry Potter fans. And so we went in to Diagon Alley and did a lot of shopping and rode the train over to the next one, to the next park, and visited Hogsmeade. And I have to say the best roller coaster of the week was Hagrid's Flying Motorcycles, because you had a motorcycle and a sidecar, just like in the Harry Potter movies. Hagrid rides the motorcycle, Harry rides in the sidecar, and you sit up on the motorcycle as if you're driving it. And I got lucky. We figured out really quickly at Universal, go through the single rider line, because with 3 adults, we're fine. We don't have kids we have to be paired with. And you can wait a lot less without having to buy a fast pass. So we went through the single rider line, and I just got lucky and got paired up with someone and was in the first car. So there was nobody in front of me. I mean, they're motorcycles lined up in a roller coaster car, but I was on the front. So it almost felt like I was driving a motorcycle on a roller coaster rail. And that roller coaster did things I've never felt a roller coaster do before. It did spins and turns and stuff, and then it dropped from one track to the other, and you went backwards, and it was awesome. It was a 90-minute wait if you were in the regular line. It was 30 to 45 for us in the single rider line, and it was worth it. And if we had had time, we would have done it again. We just didn't have time for that. Yeah, single rider lines are the best if you love roller coasters. Because if you're not worried about who you're sitting by and you just want to ride, that's the fastest way to do it. I also recommend that week, the second week in December, as a good week if you want to go down to Orlando, because the lines in Disney were not bad. The lines in Universal were probably not bad. And they just got busy toward the end of the day because we were there on a Friday. So I recommend that week because school's not out yet. So people haven't started going on vacation yet as much. And most places we didn't wait more than a half an hour when we did have to wait. That was pretty awesome. Let's see. It's a Small World is best for when the rain starts up. This is true. You want the indoor rides when the rain starts up. We ended up going in because the day we were at Hollywood Studios, it did rain a little bit. We were inside the Galaxy's Edge. Then we were inside the Hollywood Tower of Terror. And then when we went over to Animal Kingdom, we were inside the Pandora Avatar stuff because there's a lazy river with all the bioluminescent plants and stuff, and that was really pretty. And then you're also inside for the motorcycles, not motorcycles, flying the Banshee. And I see Pamela. Are you ready to come back on?
We are now both on the screen. Thank you so much for covering, and you're going to be back later today. You're doing back-to-back hours at 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. Eastern, I believe. And
yes. I have interviews then, so it's not just me talking.
No. And I just want to let everyone know that during the last break, I looked at the schedule since it got revised. So I did the initial schedule and I was like, throw myself on this grenade, do this, do that. Every 3 hours, give myself a break, but for only 1 hour. And I just looked at the schedule and my team was just like, F that, rescheduled so that I have like more than 9 hours tonight to like get ready, sleep, get up in the morning. And they like gave me a 2-hour break for dinner. And I have done a lot of hangout-a-thons over the years. And this is the first time I haven't had to eat on screen unless I wanted to. And I have to say, you guys are awesome. So please, everyone that is out there, we're raising money so I can make sure all of these people earn a living wage for everything they produce for you. All the science content, software, everything. And they're working their butts off to make all of this happen. Please, let's give back and make sure that they get paid for everything that they produce for you. So if you are watching our programs, if you want to see this woman's daughter go to college, thank you so much, Bill Nash, for the bits.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Bill will be joining us in just a moment. Before he does, though, we got a box from Keeper of Maps, and I have
open the box.
I have no idea what's in the box. So, I got a haha ginger cat from Bill Nash. That is, and there's a Santa hat on our CosmoQuest rocket. I don't know who did that. I'm in love.
That is so cute.
How did you do that, Kevlar? Oh, sorry. I like got distracted mid cutting things with sharp objects. Okay, let me mute the video that's in front of me because I am easily distracted. Hi. I think we were sent food.
And thank you, Expendable Red Shirt, for banking on Kevin and his education. It's much appreciated. Amanda is well on her way. Actually, she is a sophomore now in materials engineering. So all of your money is going to support an amazing kid studying an amazing field. And Kevin will be deciding what his is, but he's gotten into 3 colleges. So he's going to be going somewhere, and it's awesome.
And let's face it, more students change majors than don't. I actually started university as a social relations major. I may be one of the only people to ever switch from social relations to astrophysics. I'm weird. This is food. Oh my goodness. I love all of our Canadians. We now have 2 boxes of these. We have one from Canada. No, we have one from Astro YYZ, and we have one from Keeper of Maps. These are the same maple cookies that have flown on the International Space Station.
Those are good.
They are like my favorite cookie, and we can't get them here.
I'm going
love
to
you.
sign off and go deal with dog.
So Bill Nash, join at will. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the chat. Whoa, I turned myself off instead of Susie. Okay. So Susie, I'm taking you off camera. We will see you in a few hours.